host, Kevin Barrier, and welcome to 5 Dubs Marketing Pros, where we highlight awesome brands and the stories behind them, and maybe just maybe geek out on all things marketing. All right, so today is a special day, friends, because I get to talk to someone who I genuinely consider to be a master marketer and brand creator who stumbled across a love for barbecuing that turned into an amazing Buffalo-based barbecue brand, a brand whose product receives the same love and attention that the brand itself has received. And the efforts of him and his partners have put great barbecue on the map in Western New York. It's, for me, been amazing to watch how a passion for barbecue, tailgating, and friendships made standing around hot coals has turned into a top 10 favorite brand in my little humble book of favorite brands that exist on this earth. And I can personally attest and verify that their rubs and sauces stand at the tippity top of best barbecue rubs and sauces that I've ever had. So without further ado, I introduce Pitmaster, master marketer, and longtime friend, Iman Azizi of the award-winning Q42.
Hey, Kevin.
Good to be here. Good to see you, sir. So full disclosure, I've known you since our high school days.
1994, 95?
Since 1994, 95. Yeah, it's been a long time. And I've, I remember when I first started in marketing, you helped me with an ad for a movie theater. It was you wrote a headline for a movie theater for me for Christmas. And I really wanted to make an impression on this client, and I still remember it to this day. It was, or at least by and large of it, it was like the happiest, scariest, most dramatic gift you can get this season. And the client loved it, and I landed the business. So the royalty check's in the mail. Hopefully it got to you.
I don't think AI could have written that.
I know. Well, it is good to have you. So. As a marketer, and as someone who just loves to geek over brands and is fascinated by how brands come to be, your story is really unique. It's not like the everyday story of how brands come to be, and you have a diverse resume. So you are an experienced veteran marketer, and within that, brilliant copywriter and creative director, among many other things. Add Pitmaster to the resume now. But let's kind of start from the beginning of your story on like how Q42 came to be. Talk a little bit about that journey that you went on to get to this point now.
Yeah, there's kind of multiple folds there. So I'd worked in ad agencies for about 21 years at this point. And then in 2012, 2013, I really got into the barbecue scene. I worked on a Cabo Wabo project that I sold in to become the tequila tied with barbecue, where like every other tequila brand was pretentious. Think of all tequilas, and they're very pretentious and they want to be high end. So my idea was to take Cabo to hit the backyard dude who will spend $40 on a bottle of tequila because he wants it. And we worked with influencers like Myron Mixon and some of these other guys you see on TV. This guy, Jason Day in Kansas City, I went out there, filmed some things with him, and we kind of hit it off as friends. He knew I had a passion for this stuff, and he brought me along. He's like, come on out, join the team, see what it's like. So I went to a couple of competitions with him. Then he started giving me advice. He pushed me to do it on my own. My very first barbecue team was called Porkymon, and it was a little goatee Pokemon looking character. So entered a couple contests as Porkymon, and actually won things like best sauce, second place overall. I'm like, okay, I'll keep doing this thing. Went into the Pro Series, and we went the first changed the name to Rubbing Down a Dream, a little Tom Petty reference. So we were rubbing down a dream for a couple years, and competed in St. Louis, Illinois, Memphis, Kansas City, all over the place, and did pretty well. But I just learned about layering flavors. I learned about how to really be thoughtful in cooking and barbecue. And we grew up as 80s, 90s kids, and so I grew up with a lot of Tombstone pizzas and Hot Pockets. There wasn't a lot of cooking going on that was interesting. But I always wanted to learn it. It was like a thing I wanted to do. And kind of jump in timeline, like when I got my first house in 2010, the first thing I bought was a mower and a Weber grill that I still use to this day. So that Weber grill is the one I take to tailgates because it's you never take things to tailgates that you don't mind getting destroyed. So that's my tailgate grill. What? How many years is that now? 20 years old. Um, so back to the learning things. So getting into the barbecue scene, I'm on it. I'm still working full time as a creative director in agencies and an in-house place. Uh, so I'm just balancing that. Like that helps me fund this passion project. So just in the summers I do that. The winters I do a couple things like freeze queue. Then the pandemic hit, and my girlfriend and future wife at the time moved in, and we cooked every single day. So I would just go to the store, buy as many things as we could, freeze it, and then cook it. A lot of chicken thighs, a lot of legs, a lot of steaks. The world is ending. Let's cook. I actually had neighbors. They would they would bring food and leave it on my porch for me to cook for them, and they would throw me like an extra salmon or steak if I would cook their dinner. So we had like a whole like neighborhood's gonna survive. I'll be the master cook for our little neighborhood in Dogtown, St. Louis. Um, well, I made the decision to move out of St. Louis and move to Buffalo, New York. And let's go somewhere that's got a really strong community that supports each other. Like this town, if you build something or do something good, they rally around you like no other. So this is a place I've always loved. As a Bills fan growing up, I used to come up here about once a year, and you meet friends, and then they recruit really hard on you. That's kind of, it's a very one of us, you're one of us, you should live here kind of thing. So I brought Bridget up here in the summer of the pandemic. Um, it was July, so it was 80 degrees and sunny each day, and she loved it. She loved all the friends. I took her on the tour. Like, here's all the things here. There's Toronto. There's the falls. There's this, and we made the decision to do it. And with that, she was like, "Why don't you take your barbecue passion and start something in Buffalo? Because there isn't a lot of authentic barbecue going on in that town." And we started brainstorming in the backyard, and we're like, "Do we want to do a pop up? Do we want to do a restaurant? No, don't want to manage that, especially with things going on." So, okay, well, how about, because you're so good at layering flavors, take like the sauce you've won with, the rubs you make, and let's build something out of that. And so we were in the backyard with my stepdaughter, her daughter Annabelle, and we're spitballing names. And I think Bridget said Q32 because it rhymes, and I said you can't use 32. That's O.J. Simpson. So we're not gonna.
Very astute of you. Very astute of you. But that's how all great brands start, right? It's like here's why something won't work, but then it molds from there. So where did the 42 come from?
So then Annabelle says, "Why don't you call it Q42, which is like the meaning of life? It's like the code for that. The number 42 is the meaning of life." And Bridget's like, "Oh, that's perfect because that's what Iman's all about with barbecue. It's his meaning of life." And then we look it up, and Buffalo is on the 42nd parallel. So now it starts coming together. Let's do regional flavors from the 42nd parallel. And so everything we make pays really big homage and respect to wherever it's from. And so that's why like this Texas rub, there's a little line through Austin in number 30. That's the 30th parallel because that's where Franklin lives, Franklin Barbecue, and this was kind of modeled after him. But
Okay.
then I used Western New York coffee to give this a buffalo twist.
I just had that the other day. I put it on a ribeye. It's incredible. A ribeye, and I chose to put it on a ribeye because of your website, and it was
Oh yeah.
it was absolutely phenomenal. It was great. Full disclosure, I've had that container of that for probably 6 months, maybe a year, and I
Yeah.
completely forgot I had it.
Doesn't
And
really go bad.
no, it's still closed, and I mean super fresh, and man, it was absolutely incredible.
So we got a new one of that coming out soon. That's we're gonna work with an even more hyper local coffee roaster, and it's gonna be in a bigger jug. So that's coming
Okay.
out probably in a month or two. But with that, it's like we learned how to develop a brand and then how to make a product, and those were two really big undertakings.
Yeah, well, and you and Bridget, I mean, Bridget has an extensive marketing background as well. her, I mean, she is brilliant and insightful, and I think it's the perfect partner when think tanking. You know, what could this brand
Hmm.
look like? And with you and your creative direction background and you as a marketer, I mean, you know, when I first saw your brand hit the scene, I'm like, man, this is going to go huge. And I don't know if you remember him. I'm like, I'll do your social media for free because I think we can make this thing blow up quick. And you made the correct decision. You know, as I look back in hindsight, it's like you said, slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah.
And I think that was a wise way to go.
Yeah, like I'll tell you when we first, so we worked with my buddy. I played in bands with him, worked at agencies with him out of St. Louis, Aaron Siegel. He designed our logo. First round, he gave us like 8 options, and we're like, that's the one. And then we just worked with him to like develop the site, the labels, the look and feel. We went with black and white to just be very down to earth. We're not flashy. One like I'll show you again, like just kind
Yes,
of
so for those who aren't seeing, I mean, it's you know, the logo's you know, circular black with white writing. You can go to Q42 Q42bbq.com if you want to
yep.
see it and buy his product. But yeah, it is a very when I first saw the brand, it screamed like a quiet confidence to me,
Mhm.
you know, and yeah, because like I feel like to me and many will probably disagree, but I think the flashier it is, sometimes the worse the product is because you're
Yeah.
hiding areas of opportunity behind the flashiness of a brand
Same with wine. Yeah, it's like never buy the least fancy wine bottle. That's the
yeah,
best wine.
that's a great a
They're
great
they're
tip.
focused on the wine and not the label.
Exactly. And well, and you can tell that with your product, you know, there is a lot of love, care, and attention. So, you know, so my favorite is your KC style.
Hmm.
I enjoy. I'm a huge barbecue fan. I have been all my life, and I like the sweet and heat
The
style.
battle.
And
It's the battle.
yeah, and it's the KC style. It goes on everything. You know, the other
That's the goal.
day. Oh, it's so good. So I don't, you know, and I don't know if it's sacrilege, but July 4th, I used it July 4th. I put some stuff on the smoker and I used it on some ribs and used it on, you know, I did a whole chicken, but then I did some jalapeno poppers and I put the KC style rub in with the cream cheese. And once I wrapped it with bacon, I sprinkled it over the bacon. I'm like, okay, I smoked it. I'm like, okay, let's see what this does. And it was addicting. Like people overuse like it's like crack, you know, but it was really like I ate like 20 of them.
So the
I'm disgusting, you know, when I did that, but it's so good.
the trick of so the way I layered this rub is there's so we don't use any preservatives in anything we make. There's no like weird names you can't understand. I don't think there's many other products on the shelf that do that because it's hard and it costs more, and you have to be a little more thoughtful. So the trick in the KC rub is I use turbinado sugar, which is raw sugar in the raw, and that way, if it ever cakes up, it's so big, the crystals, it'll just shake it and it's back loose. So it's you battle with the turbinado sugar, then there's paprika, smoked paprika, cayenne, chili powder. There's 13 things in there. Sell it was like little things that are little nods to KC, little celery seed, little mustard. But yeah, when you put that on, it's meant to sweat into whatever you're cooking, where you give it the heat, those crystals will melt and caramelize and then capture the paprika taste. And then you get that battle of super sweet and then a bunch of smokiness and a little heat. And that's what
Yeah.
the addictiveness is supposed to be.
Yeah, it feels very umami, you know, especially like when you're putting it on a piece of pork or like said the heat of a jalapeno pepper and the creaminess of cream
Yep.
cheese and like the saltiness of bacon. It's just like it hits hard
And so
and
some
just in all the right ways.
yeah, something we learned in production, many rubs and things you see are co-packer made. So a co-packer will say like, you want something like this, we can make that for you. And you might have a few suggestions. We do it the hard way, where I originally did it in a Word doc and I got yelled at. I did all the measurements of how to make like 25 little bottles, how to make 50 little bottles, and you scale stuff up. And now it's in Excel. I send that to the co-packer, and then I ship all the ingredients myself to them. but we started, I would just do it in a commercial kitchen, just hand blending everything and hand making all the sauces as well. We learned a lot about science. Bridget gets mad when I talk about pH levels to people, but yeah, I learned about safe pH levels and how to be shelf stable. So yeah, we used to do 25 to 27 bottles at a time in a batch, and that's why we used to we hand numbered each bottle and batch number. So batch 1, bottle 17. We'll just do that, and that's why they say batches on them. So like the next one will be, our first co-pack was batch 8, and now we're on to batch 10 of co-pack.
Okay. I remember I don't know if I was batch 1, but I was like early day adopter of KC
You
style.
probably were.
Yeah, it's like and it was like I was so proud that you launched this brand. I love barbecue, and so I supporting a friend, I got it, and like my brain melted with like, oh my God, this is incredible. This is not the normal stuff you would just, pick up amongst all this other stuff on like, a Walmart shop. I mean, this is really special stuff. And, it goes beyond like KC style. You have your Texas style, which has that coffee flavor. And talk to me a little bit, because you mentioned that the kind of the next iteration of that, you're partnering with a coffee house or a coffee grinder that's even more local. Talk a little bit about how Q42, when they can, works with local businesses to support local businesses.
Yeah, we're trying to blend a lot of Buffalo into every flavor we make. And so that's kind of an ultimate goal, is to like put Buffalo on the map for really thoughtful barbecue and flavors and techniques. We're not looking to be like a giant, what do you call it, Sweet Baby Ray's. They can scale that big because they make things a certain way. That's not us. We make things very thoughtful way. So when you buy, I'm holding up to the camera, but like, it's a nice glass bottle. It looks like a little bit like a whiskey bottle. It's supposed to like be an experience of like, I'm not just dousing a hot dog with this. I'm thoughtfully using this, and it's made with real flavors that pop. We use Western New York honey in this, about an hour up the street is where the honey's from for the sauces.
That's for the KC style sauce.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the Carolina, which this just got 6 in the world. It's South Carolina on the label because it's the German style with the mustard, and the ketchup and the mustard are our own recipes.
Well, so let's not downplay the award. So hold that up again, because I think that's that that Carolina style. You just said 6 in the world.
Yep.
Expand. So that is an award-winning sauce that is number 6 in the world for like a mustard-based barbecue, or just okay.
Mustard-based sauces.
Congratulations. That is insane.
And then this got 14th in the world for sweet rubs last year.
The KC style rub, yeah.
Out of like 400. So we put that on the label.
That should be number 1 in the universe. It's so good. It's I've heard that with the KC style, that word on the street is that it's also good on like vanilla ice cream, or you've heard people putting it on with like vanilla ice cream. It's when you create a spice or a rub that is that versatile. I mean, you have something. Yeah, I mean, you have something special. And with that, you just so you just came out recently with another rub. But before you talk about that, one thing that you mentioned is like you want to put as much buffalo into your product. Talk to me a little bit about what that means for you. Like, what is the buffalo flavor? Like, what's the buffalo barbecue experience that exists in, Western New York? Yeah. So.
Yep. So that's a two-folder. So the cook here is different. The weather is unique. The air is unique. To be a tailgater, you have to be able to deal with adversity. There's some sort of wind. There's going to be some sort of precipitation. So there is like this hardiness and resiliency about cooking outdoors here. You have to be built a little different to do it all the time. I enjoy it. Like, I've got pictures of cooking salmon at a tailgate covered in ice balls from a sleet storm that hit us. We like shoveled a foot of snow out of our parking spot just to get started one morning. Yeah, we had 60-mile-an-hour winds for a Monday night game, and
yeah, because you'll go tailgate at the Bills, right? Yeah, I mean, yeah. You mentioned it. I've known Iman for such a long time. I remember you wearing Buffalo Bills tees I mean, you were a freshman in high school, and I was what in sixth grade, and because you were in the same grade as my brother, and you
Yep.
guys were great friends, and I knew it's kind of how I got introduced to you from there, and yeah, so now you live in I mean, you live in Buffalo, so you're
Yep.
at the Bills tailgating.
Leaned pretty heavy in there. So heavy
You
lean.
leaned, you went all in, you dove in,
But
you
yeah,
dove in.
and like Buffalo's just a place that love it. So it's one of those American cities that's a lot like where I lived in St. Louis and stuff, where they were giant cities in the early 1900s. Then they kind of stalled. But like we're like St. Louis, I think, kind of hates on itself sometimes. Buffalo's got this thing where like they can hate on themselves, but you better not talk bad about it. And they actually like love their town, and so it's also just cool to have a city rally around something like, oh, it uses this, like the next coffee rub we're going to have. I love to have that story of like, yeah, we work with this local partner, we're supporting each other. We're not, people don't, it's not like a cutthroat competition all the time. It's like, if one Buffalo wins, all Buffalo is winning. It's kind of that mentality, which I dig. Just as a, just as a way of life here. And like the people you meet at tailgates are amazing. It just keeps you coming back for more. It's not jumping through tables. We don't, that's over there,
Yeah.
and they just do it to get on TV, and then it's over.
Well, and
Um,
I think communities supporting community businesses supporting community businesses like have has always been in one shape or form in style, right? I mean,
mhm.
like consumers respect that and enjoy that. I think COVID, if there's anything that comes out of the whole COVID experience, it is communities rallying around their small businesses and really solidifying or knitting together that end of things. So, I mean, that's I mean, I guess no pun intended. That's a recipe for success. So
Well,
that's
it's like
awesome.
every partner we have is local, for like production. Even the plastics we get from a local supplier for the jugs. Local supplier who fills both the sauces and the rubs, and then we're just in local stores. We just got into our first Ace Hardware, just by basically word of mouth, which is really good. So we're just in butcher shops and places like that, and then online. Then our warehouse, we found a local warehouse who ships and stores for us. What? So our first sauce batch, it was 6,000 pounds of sauce. I took a U-Haul up to Rochester, which is an hour drive, to pick up the 6,000 pounds of sauce, drive back to Buffalo, back into our little city house, and then Bridget and I carried it all to the basement. That was like our first, it's stock up of stuff. So they,
Wow, that's incredible. And 6,000 pounds of sauce is a great name for a band as well.
yeah.
Now, so I just put I just put an order through on Q40 and just to confirm, so QUE
Yep.
42 number 42 barbecue dot or bbq.com. I got I got the Casey style because I used the last little bit on those poppers, and I mean I'm shaking that thing dry, and then I got a new product that you put out,
Hmm.
the yellow top,
Yep.
and I'm
Really cool.
super excited about it. I'm seeing a lot of people. Yeah, so South Buffalo inspired chicken rub. I'm seeing those that have used it tag you all over social media that it is transcending. So talk to me. So I haven't used it yet, but talk to me a little bit about what I'm gonna experience when I do.
Yeah, this is my favorite thing I've made. So we wanted to make a chicken rub. We were talking about what region, what style to make it hot, to make it this. And what I get sometimes, I'll get heat from Bills fans for having two Kansas City style things because of course the Chiefs become rivals the minute we launch.
Right.
So I'm like, how about I lean really heavy into local, but not just local as you can be. So South Buffalo is its own universe in Buffalo. It's like if you know, you know, in the town, it is its own thing. And so we live here. This is where we end up getting a house. Our other partner, lived here for much of his life in his formable years. And Reed Ferguson, who I'll get to, who joined us, he's a Buffalo Bills player. He lived here when he was on the Rex Ryan Buffalo Bills. He lived in South Buffalo. So we all had a South Buffalo tie. So I'm like, all right. There's also a chicken wing style that's South Buffalo. It's called Kells or Smitty's style. And it's this really unique, deeper, richer flavor and nose that you get on a chicken wing. You can only get it in South Buffalo. And again, if you know, you know kind of thing. So we go to the Irish Center a lot. They have that style. There's a couple bars around town that do the style, and I just kept getting the wings, smelling them, tasting them, and trying to make a rub that had the same characteristics of that Smitty style. So it's not. That's why it's inspired. It's not going to taste like a Smitty's wing. It's made to have those same characteristics. So first, you're going to get a huge earthy nose. What we found out is they use a ton of margarine. So we're not putting margarine in a rub, but then they have like clove and nutmeg and celery seed. So you're going to get just earth. Then if you taste it, it's got this like, it just tastes like you want to put it on chicken. It tastes like a poultry rub, but then it's got a little bit of sweet, a little bit of heat, much more earth, and then it just sticks to you, because that's what a South Buffalo bar Smitty's wing does to you. Like, it's just this scent you can't forget once you have it, and it tastes you. It just sticks on your tongue. So it's made to just linger around with like a 4.5, 5 out of 10 heat that just kind of won't leave you.
Yeah.
And then it's also made to have really good color, have that nice brown. If you smoke with it or sear with it, the color's going to be real nice. I think there's 13 or 14 things in this rub. This one I spent a lot of time on, a lot of testing with our friends, because they know Smitty's wings, people in South Buffalo. I took it to the Irish Center. What do you think of this? Needs more of that. Yeah, we did a prototype, shared that around, but it took a long time. It took about 6 months to go from ideation on the porch to being in our hands. So,
and this is where these all start. All of these ideas kind of start hanging around with friends, or you find this idea of like, man, I really like this flavor.
So, and then I'm all about Easter eggs and like little things if you look deep enough.
Oh, okay.
So, like, you know how each label has like a number 39 as the latitude.
Yeah.
This is a 42.84. And then if you look even deeper, there's light lines all over the state of New York. And it's the South Buffalo famous intersection with like all the major roads meeting each other. It's that exact spot. So
interesting. So are there Easter eggs on all of your labels?
Probably. Yeah.
Okay. Man,
Yeah,
now I'm going to have to take a look.
On this one, we're going from St. Louis to Kansas City.
Okay.
Across the road.
Oh, I see that. Okay, got for the KC style. Okay. Well, and speaking of KC style, my friend, I have a bone to pick with you, sir. I go on your website, excited. So I'm gonna go get myself some rubs, and then as I'm on there, I'm like, oh man, I forgot. I need more KC style barbecues. The KC style barbecue sauce, I would drink right from the bottle. It's maybe I'm disgusted. It is incredible, and I go to buy it. I'm excited. I'm smiling, and I was filled with jubilee. And then I was crushed because it's out of stock, sir. And I see you have one over there right now that
this is an old one.
I will bid on that. I will give a pretty penny. What's going on? When are you getting more KC style?
I'd say give us 60 days. And the problem is when you're a small producer, you don't have a lot of pull. So to make things with co-packers, you really have to, they won't put you on the schedule until you have everything. So I got to get my labels. I got to get the glassware. I got to get the caps. I got to get the sealant. I got to get any special ingredient all in their hands. And then they'll say like, okay, maybe a couple weeks from now we'll make your stuff. But if like Sweet Baby Ray's comes in there and is like, hey, we need 1 million bottles, I'm like, sorry, Q, get you over here.
So see, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that I think the typical consumer won't see when they're buying from an artisan business. So it's okay. Well, now I feel bad. Now I just want to give you a hug because I just
well, I've seen it coming since April. We saw it like depleting, but it's like, also we're small. It's like, do we want to invest again? The Carolina, we thought about sunsetting, and then it won an award, and now everybody loves it. So we're like, oh shit, we gotta go back and make more of that. So now we actually did make a small batch of the KC last year because we were running low, but I only made like 120. And
gotcha. Okay,
now that's gone, and we're out of labels. So labels are like a lead time of like 3 weeks. Like everything's got these lead times.
Yeah.
And glass is also like, we lost a lot to shipping. That's something in business where when you have nice bottles, man, UPS loves to crush them.
Yeah, yeah, they do not.
If they didn't crush like 4 cases, I'd have more in stock for you.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. See, and so now, so I apologize. I
No, it's
my temper tantrum is it
it's
shows that you it's a good problem to have, right? I mean,
it
this.
is, but it sucks that it's the summer and
Oh, yeah,
it's
that's
gone.
true. But still, but now, so the thing is, what I was what I decided to do. So I'm out of KC barbecue. I just finished up the KC rub on some jalapeno popper, and that's why I'm like, oh man, I have the Texas brisket, and I'm going and I planned a dinner around that. I'm like, I'm going to go get steak because
Okay.
on your website that starts off with barbecue is life, and boy, isn't
Hmm.
it?
That's the Easter egg of the origin of the name.
Okay. Yeah, 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 yeah. So, in looking, if you scroll down, using Q42 Texas coffee rub on ribeyes, I'm like, man, I thought it was just for brisket. And I didn't even put two and two together that
That's we're
ribeyes come from
changing
the same animal as a brisket,
we're
so
changing the name to beef rub.
beef rub. Yeah, that's right. That's right. And your website's a great resource to just to get those ideas. And also one thing I really love is when others are using your products, they're tagging you on social,
Yeah.
and not a lot of brands will take the time to share that out, but you
Hmm.
do. So
All the time.
yeah, so from a marketing end, so taking the pitmaster's apron off and putting on your marketing cap, tell me how you are approaching the marketing side of growing your brand.
Something that is I've learned it's really hard to work on your own brand sometimes. Like I should be doing so much more for the website and creative recipes and things like that. But when it's your own brand, it is amazing how much more difficult that is. But I spent 20 years building other brands, and now it's my own thing, and I kind of get cold feet on making those things. But if I were working on Q42, I do a ton of things. I got a ton of ideas. So it's a interesting struggle I've discovered. And then
Gotcha.
my stepdaughter was working with us, and she was doing great for did making social content for us, newsletters. I was like, all right, this could work. But then she got a big job and left us, and now I got to do better.
Now you're back. Yeah. Well, but you're doing so. One of the things I'm seeing getting out there is the Grills Mafia.
This
So the Grills Mafia. Talk to me a little bit more about what that is, why it matters, and why is there a registration for it? What is that all about?
So Grills Mafia. So Reed Ferguson is the long snapper of the Buffalo Bills. He's got the longest tenure. He's been there since Rex Ryan was the coach. For anybody who remembers that era, so he's a vet now, and he loves cooking, grilling, and he started this Grills Mafia social thing of like share what you're cooking. Grills Mafia, what are you making? And him and I connected through that, and then he's also friends with a friend of a connection, and he inquired about Q42. He was really interested in what we were doing and wanted to combine forces of like Girls Mafia plus Q42 is like products that are like all in the same family. So like Girls Mafia is the umbrella of like everybody can do this thing, and Q42 is kind of like, and we have some products that are unique. And so we're putting on events. We've done meetups in the summer. So we'll do like a tailgate in a park, like it's a Bills game, and then we this will be the second year we're putting on a competition where we're going to do a steak and a sausage cook-off on a little street in Lancaster on August 3rd. And we're working with a local butchery that's one of the first butcher shops we got Q42 in. But it's like it's a Grills Mafia experience. So yeah, that's a better way to put it. Grills Mafia is the experience and the community, and the Q42 are the tangible things you hold in your hand.
And so Reed Ferguson, a professional football player for the Buffalo Bills, so has adult Iman fanboyed out because I can imagine high school Iman that's the end game, right? It's like, man, I mean, you have always been a diehard Buffalo Bills fan, like Vinny Testaverde days, right?
Just 30. You
Right?
mean on the Ravens?
Or no, 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 no. Oh, who? I'm sorry. in high school there was
Jim Kelly?
no, maybe it was a kicker. Who's the kicker back
Scott
in high?
Greenwood?
No, okay, maybe I'm
Steve
wrong.
Christie?
Maybe I don't know. I don't know why I'm saying Vinny Testaverde. Man, I thought it was Vinny Testaverde. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I know nothing about football, but you do, and you love the Bills. So like when that kind of came to be, like what had you fanboy out or
It's weird because I got to know him a little bit, and he's just a good dude.
just a good
Good
yeah,
dude. And
yeah.
then
See, football
it
players
was
are
we did a news. So he got on Good Morning America, right when he joined up with us, and he used the KC rub, which was in a smaller jug,
okay.
and yeah, we had like 50 in stock, and they were gone within like 30 minutes. We just
Okay.
sold out.
Yeah,
So we learned, like, marketing wise, okay, if we're gonna do something that big, let's make sure we can fulfill it, because now, like, then the fire's over. But that was a big pop for us. But he actually he used the chicken rub in the Bills cafeteria. He got them to use it on the chicken to serve like the players, and he told us Sean McDermott loved it. A few that threw out some names. So that was like big childhood, boyhood wins for me to like hear that they actually use it in the facility, and like Brandon Bean and all these big guys were like fans of my stuff.
well, and that's perfect. Like from a marketing perspective, I mean that's like influencer marketing
That's nothing.
all day, every day.
So another marketing learning, like 2 years ago, we sponsored a podcast by a former Bills player who I met, John Fina, and it was great to like build that relationship and sponsor it, but it didn't move anything for us. So it's like, okay, sponsoring things is not the way to go. We need to just be in the community and do things versus there's no push. We need to pull people in. So that was a marketing learning of buying ads, having a read on a podcast. It's not moving the needle for a product like us.
Yeah, yeah, grassroots. Oh, and I looked up. You're correct. Vinny Testaverde is not on the bill. Todd Collins.
Oh, yeah.
Todd Collins. That's who I was like back in '97 or something.
And,
It's like
and Todd and Todd we trust.
yeah,
That's
that's
what it was.
there it is. Yep.
When,
Okay, good.
When Jim Kelly got hurt and Todd had one good game.
I've redeemed myself on that. I've redeemed myself. So, so you have this new you have the South Buffalo rub coming out. You're evolving the Texas brisket coffee rub to the ingredients within to be even more hyper local. As Q42 continues to grow, this slow and steady, very kind of sustained growth pattern. Like what's next? Give me an exclusive. I've wanted an exclusive for so long on this podcast. What's something that's coming down the pike that no one knows about that I could know about?
I think we want to do more events of like gathering people together, doing lessons, like how to maximize, like not pretentious. We want to teach like really thoughtful backyard tailgating, cooking, and flavor experiences, and people sharing their expertise with each other versus monologues. We want more dialogues and like build up this community and get people who are into this. And it will host events that don't have to be competitions. They're just, let's get together and do this thing. And it's a lot of that tailgate culture and making that into a thing that doesn't always have to revolve around a sports thing. Like we barely talk about sports at tailgates. We talk about our life, everything else, flavors, what we're cooking, and that's what it's really about. And we just want to build that community up. And then I think we don't have a next product on the tip of our tongues, but we're starting to throw things around. And I think once we get sauce back on the shelf, the revised beef rub, then we're going to probably think about another, I think, dry good. I think it'll be a rub. And I wouldn't mind hearing what other people think we should make. We've kind of came up with all these on our own. Might start asking people what they're looking for, and then we can start R&D in that. But we kind of want to get these steady flow and just keep organically growing, because again, we didn't want to like put so much effort into something that we're making mistakes along the way and then it falls down. We've got
Right.
a nice steady thing going. And now with Reed in the picture for last year, it's been even better. So yeah, we're just going to keep working with people, doing things, hosting events, getting to know who's who, and trying to keep making good products.
Hobnobbing with your childhood and current fave football team. I mean, just normal
Yeah.
Sunday. And it's interesting. So I love the idea of more events and the way that you want to approach it, because food is one of the few things that fosters a sense of community, right? I
Hmm.
mean, whether it's within an immediate family or with a group of friends, it's one thing that people can gather around. And on your website it mentioned like friendships made around hot coals,
Yep.
which was such a cool thing, because barbecuing that's something that a group of friends could. It's usually an all day thing, right? You can smell the smoke in the air, and you just it's a relaxing, have fun day. I think that sentiment, I think, speaks within your brand that you've created, within the products that you've created within the brand. I think, I personally, I think you're one of the best barbecue brands on the planet.
Oh, yeah.
And some may call me biased because I've known you for so long, but it's incredible. You're because of the attention to detail. So as we start to kind of wrap up, one question I always ask from entrepreneurs or business owners that are experienced is like, what is one thing that you learned along the way, or what is one thing that you would have done differently? And what did you learn about that, experience? Something you wish you would have done differently, and why would you have done it differently?
I don't think there's anything I would have done differently.
Okay.
Um, to get into this space, there's not a lot of help. I think to twist that question moving forward, I would like to help somebody else trying to do something like this, because it is an uphill battle of learning laws, label laws. Like there's so many things, and you can see why somebody just signs over to a co-packer like, "Hey, just make this for me." Like to make something on your own is really difficult in this world. Just all the cost, the legalities. Um, I wish there was a more helpful community for people looking to make food products. It's because I think people have great ideas. We got turned down a lot by co-packers because we had our own ketchup and mustard recipes. Because in our tests, people were like, "This tastes like Heinz. This tastes like this French's." And
Gotcha.
then if you use those, you have all the preservatives and all the weird things that are in that ingredient. We don't have any of that. So co-packers like, "That's too hard. We're not. That's too many steps." So again, like to do those things is really difficult. So we could have given in and just made a product cheaper with off-the-shelf Heinz, but nope, made our own ketchup recipe, made our own mustard recipe, but that's also why people like you appreciate that you can taste the difference in what something real tastes like.
You 100% can, and especially with the Casey style rub with the turbinado sugar, there's a textural element too.
Nothing else is
It's
doing that.
No, not nobody. And I can't imagine, the barbecue industry as a whole in totality is a saturated space. I
Hmm.
mean, when someone creates a brand like this, everything's working against you, and you being able to persevere through that, I mean, speaks volumes to the brand, speaks volumes to the product. And I give you so much congratulations on what you and Bridget and Reed and any stakeholders within
Yeah,
Q42 are doing. You,
I was
you're
gonna tell
you're
you
killing it.
how we found our other partner, Drew. He saw me cooking on Twitter all the time, and he's like, "Hey, come down to my tailgate and show me how you do the wings like that." And so I had a big backpack full of stuff, and he's like, "You have a backpack full of equipment?" And I showed him how to do wings correctly. He's like, "Tailgate here next time," and that's where the friendship began. And now he's a part. It's the four of us.
That's incredible. It's like there's a wholesomeness to it. Yeah, I mean, barbecue is just there are a few other things in life besides barbecue that really just
And it's also it ties into being a creative in marketing. I like creating unique things. I just want to make things that are different and impressive or thoughtful and like that. It's the same mentality I put into like a deck to sell a marketing program. I
yeah.
put into like making this. Like what are all the little things? What could the client nitpick on me on this, and what can I say about it? So if you ask me anything about these products, I got an answer for you. Just like if you have a big presentation, it's the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's and you've in my opinion, you've crossed every T and dotted every I. I mean, it's just, it's
lowercase
incredible.
J.
And lowercase j. And well, and your products, you know, for anyone that's listening to this, Q42 barbecue, and if you like barbecue, if you are listening to this and you like barbecue, Q42barbecue.com. Go pick up, if you want to dip your toes in the water, get the KC style sweet rub. 12 ounce, 12 ounce container, $15.99. I think, you know, as of when we're recording this, there's a discount. How long is that going to be going for?
It's still there, yeah. Big
Yeah.
Rubs.
So check it out. Use code discount Big Rubs to save 20%. I went ahead and used that bad boy. And if you want to go all in because the products are absolutely phenomenal. And like you said, these aren't, you know, products you're putting on hot dogs. This is like, it's like a top shelf bourbon that you want to bring down
That's what we're trying
to make a perfect drink. You know, it's, you know, this is to put on a porterhouse or a ribeye or a brisket. I mean, it in of itself is in totality an experience. And, you know, for everyone that's listening, Iman, where else can they find you? I mean, you are on the social medias and the internets. Where can they go?
So you can find Q42 BBQ on all the things, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. It's all that same handle as the URL. And then me, I'm pretty easy to find. If you Google my name, you'll find me everywhere. So I can't do anything bad in this world ever.
You're going to start getting, you're going to start getting like messages through social, and like, you'll get more of me's reaching out to you being like, hey, how would you approach X, Y, or Z, you know, barbecue obstacle.
I field those calls probably 3 times a week already.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all good.
Yeah. Well, then thank you for answering mine. As I continue to learn, you know,
We're
it's,
also, yeah, and just one thing, like we're sold out of KC sauce online. There's about 25 of them in the wild at stores right now. If you want to go get, if you come up to Buffalo.
All right.
The last ones went to a butcher shop, and we're in Valence Butcher Shop, Ace Hardware in South Buffalo, and a couple of little shops. So if you want to make the trip, if it's worth an 8-hour drive for you.
road trip, I'll fly into Albany. And then how far is it from Albany? Because I'm terrible with directions. No, don't do that. Just drive. Yeah. Yeah. Don't be a wuss. Just drive there. Yeah. That makes sense. Well, that's awesome. Iman, thank you so much for taking the time. You are absolutely killing it in the barbecue scene. So much congratulations to you and your partners with Q42 Barbecue. Q42bbq.com. Go buy stuff. Support an awesome brand with an awesome product. You'll have awesome barbecue. Your life will be changed forevermore, and you'll never want to try anything else again.
That's the goal.
Yeah. Well, Iman, thank you so much for taking the time. Yeah. So that will conclude this special day of talking to Iman Azizi from Q42 Barbecue. Q42 or Q42bbq.com. Go find them on Facebook. Go find them on the Twitters, Instagram. Find them. Talk to them, buy them, support them, sign up for their newsletter, do all the things. Until next time, see you. 5 Dubs Marketing Pros is hosted by me, Kevin Barrier. Our executive producer is MDDC Executive Director Rebecca Snyder. Post-production by Caroline Pecora. Our theme music is by Azulu Studio. A special thank you to our guests for being with us. You can find 5 Dubs and 5 Dubs Marketing Pros on Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcast.